Hey guys, I want to do a real quick tour of my setup. These are my models. This is above my garage. This is how much I love anatomy. For the past 4 years, I've been amassing all these models because at some point I was going to do what is known now as the Anatomy Channel. It became Dr. Chatta. But in my brain, I was like, oh, I need one more model, I need one more model. And my friend said, stop, just start recording, take it from there. So I want to give you a quick tour. So if you have questions in the future and you want me to go over something specific, you can reach out to me through my email, or you can send me a text message through my phone number, and I will try my best to get back to you or post a video or something like that to help you out. So as we go through this, keep in mind on what I have and what I can show you. I have all types of skulls. I have a Bushine skull, which is also called a disarticulated skull. Dr. Bushine is the first person that did this back in the 17 or 1800s. I have this one here, and let me pan out. That is half the nerves, that is half blood vessels. I have a really cheap skull that I paid $9.95 back in like 2012 or 13 on Amazon because that's all I could afford at the time. This right here is kind of like a puzzle. It's a disarticulated skull like that one, but it's not stuck together like that one. That one you can't really move around. You can touch it, play with it, examine it, and learn with it, but you can't take it apart and put it back together. This is a lot more important when you need to know what bones articulate with what bones. And like with here, you can see the sutures, but you can't take it apart. And it's so much easier because the higher you go in education, you're going to need to know what articulates with what. This one here is labeled. This is a lot more expensive than this one. This one's more expensive than this one, but this one's numbered. You don't need to number these. I can show you a way to mark them up with a Sharpie so that they're permanent, and then get rid of the Sharpie later on when you don't need it anymore. You can use tape and stuff like that, but that's kind of tedious. So all you really need is something like this. But if you can afford something like this, go that route. Here is an arm for muscles, tendons, ligaments, things of that nature. I have a female pelvis. I have a brain, and that's essentially a full-size brain. Has all the parts and the bells and whistles. And this is what I was talking about with tape. You can see this. I bought this one off of Facebook Marketplace, and they had taped it all up. But you don't need to do all that stuff. I will show you how to get by without that, because once you start to peel the tape off, it's going to be all gummed up. That's why the tape is still on these. Here's the bags of the parts I never needed. I have several skeletons, so I never really need the disarticulated. I have two of these. I'll show you the other one on the other side, but that's the bag for both. Here I have a little tiny torso, bigger torso, and I have these two torsos. This is a 3B, I think it's a unisex blonde Caucasian, I think it's called. I don't remember. This is a Doiner Geppert Nobody. Look that up. These are awesome. These are handmade and hand painted. I have, for ligaments, I have your hand, your clavicle, humerus, and scapula. There's your elbow joint. There's your foot. And there's your right pelvis and femur head. How do we know it's the right? Because the pubic symphysis goes right there. And so that means that this person, that's the back. That's the right side. I'm standing holding my phone in my right hand. Here I have the Doiner Geppert Thin Man. This is really, really cool. I picked it up, I think, on Facebook Marketplace as well. Cool for a collection as far as learning anatomy. It's not really, you're not going to get a lot of bang for your buck. So here you see the front or the anterior muscles, but you don't get posterior muscles. You, on the back side, you get posterior bones, but you don't get anterior bones. And so you either get muscles or the front muscles, back skeleton. And I'll kind of, if I can pan that around and show you back there, that's all you get back there. Here is cool because you got the different layers. Like it has its ups and it has its downs, but money-wise, I would say no, but it's very cool to my collection. Here we have cervical spine. And this is mainly for the brachial plexus. There's your knee with the blue beam meniscus. There's a tongue and lower jaw. There's your circle of Willis. I have a worksheet for this one. That's going to be fun. A little smaller brain. That is a microscope. That's a tribble. That's a uterus. I have a full-size leg, similar to the full-size arm. This is very heavy. It was cool when I got it, but I've since then upgraded to full-size models. There's skeleton number 1. There's heart, lungs, diaphragm. I got this mainly for the throat because you have the cricoid cartilage, and you can break that down and get a really good in-depth view of what's going on in there. That is circulatory system. Another skeleton. Here you have half a head. Here you have the muscles, vasculature, nerves on the inside. You have brain and that fun stuff there. Here you have the same thing as that. So you have your nasal cavity, tongue, jaw, mouth, cervical vertebra, esophagus, trachea, and so that's a cheaper version of that. But if you're needing just that, cool. But if you can afford, this is you're gonna get a lot more bang for your buck, especially with the skull. Actually, not the skull, but the brain and the muscles of the face, which get tricky because there's a lot going on there. We have an ear, got a stomach. There's a kidney and your adrenal gland. There is your pancreas and spleen, little tiny heart. There is your inner ear. And then I have, so these are all 3B. I have small, medium. Medium is pretty good size. This, I think, is about 4.5 feet. And you have large, all made by the same company. And then these come, this one, the medium and the large, come with both sexes. And so there's the genitalia down there. You can swap them out. I've had this in my clinic, and so I keep the female on there for obvious reasons, because kids are kids, especially young boys. There's the other disarticulated skeleton. Here's some swag that I planned to give away when it was still the Anatomy channel. Never got off the ground, but this is how serious I was about the channel. Here's some posters and all the manuals and stuff that came with a lot of the stuff that I've showed you. Here's random products that I plan to do product reviews with, and to let you know what you're getting when you purchase it. Some things that are very, very basic and are cheap will give you exactly what you need, but depends on your study process and what you plan to do in the future. If you plan to go into the healthcare field or a doctorate within that realm, spend the money, because it's going to serve you well in the future. Even if you're going on into law and you're going to practice litigation and workman's comp and motor vehicle accidents, stuff like that, you want quality stuff. These are the boxes for the little stuff, little models like the stomach. Oh yeah, there's a stomach right there, and there's a little brain and a little heart. And then here I have some learning resources that shows you that they have stuff that's a little cheaper, aimed at younger children. Like that's 2+, that's 7. But you're still getting, look at the quality of that. You're getting the brain, you're getting the lobes, you're getting all. There's a medulla of the pons. You're getting all the little things that you would need to know. And it's a decent price. Are you going to use that in your practice? No. But let's say that full-size eye, a full-size model like the ones over here of the same eye with the same labels is going to be 4 to 5 times the price. This cost me maybe $10. And then you have animal cell, and I also have a big animal cell right there. So it'll be a fun, cool tutorial. Here we have a vertebra. There's a enlarged bone, and there's enlarged skin, so we can go over tutorials with that. Then we have my other skeleton collection. This is probably the most common one you're going to see. This comes with like online anatomy courses. I used to teach anatomy at a community college, and that's what they would send for the people who took it online. That one I just thought was cool. I think I picked it up on eBay. It has all the stuff down here. 20 years ago that came in handy, but now you have YouTube, you have TikTok, you have people like me. So you need to spend the extra money for the extra labels. That's little Brody. I like to use him in a lot of things right there. He's $5 from Walmart during Halloween. A $5 skeleton will get you anything most of these will, far less price. Are you going to carry that around and show it to your patients in your clinic? The answer is no, but for learning purpose, it's cool. This is, I think, targeted for people who do like sculptures and stuff like that for musculature. But this is a really teeny tiny version of this. This one comes apart, but it'll get you there. It'll get you the surface. It'll get you going. This one here is a little third size skeleton. This one is directed towards people that want to learn origin and insertions. Red is origin, blue is insertion. How do we know? Because number 27 right there is the insertion, or the origin for the iliacus. And this one right down here, I use that for posing for flexion, extension, abduction, adduction, things of that nature. There's a disarticulated hyoid bone, and that little bad boy right there is a teeny tiny Lego skeleton, so that they come in all sizes, so I had to get all sizes. Okay, last and not least, you notice I don't have a lot of organs. I have a kidney, I have ears, I have the spleen, but I don't have hearts, lungs, stomachs, livers, and things of that nature. And that is because Inside the chest of this, inside the chest of that has all those organs. So I don't need to buy the extras to do that. And so I'll even show you over here. I'm not going to take them apart. The detail of the heart and such on this one is absolutely fantastic. You see there's a stomach, there's a liver, gallbladder, here's the lungs. I can pull those back, and there's a heart, so I don't need a heart. Inside the chest of this one is a heart. Inside the chest of those two is a heart. I will always use the one that's inside here, so when we get to heart videos and tutorials, that's the one we're going to use. But it has all the things you do. This one has mesentery, the other ones do not. I don't recall the ones. I know the really large one right there is blurry. Doesn't have mesentery. I don't think that one does either, which is weird because if you knew how much they cost, you'd be upset they didn't have mesentery. But that is the tour. That is my setup. If you have questions in the future and you want to ask and reach out to me, do so. Also, as a reminder, this is the book I will be using. If you want to purchase this, you can go to drchatta.com/TT. That's for like TikTok, 2 lowercase t's. That will take you to my Amazon affiliate page so you can buy this book and follow along. And again, if you have any questions, reach out. I got you. Till then.